Welcome to the Something to Think About podcast, where we take a closer look at what the Bible says about common questions. I am Andre Palmer. All right, welcome again as we conclude our series on looking on how to set your life in order. Last week we looked on the fundamental belief systems of order, which is everybody must benefit, be willing to learn something new, everything must be done peacefully, and unknown information must be explained. That's what persons who like order believe. And that's from 1 Corinthians 14, verse 26, 31, and 33. So now we're going to look on the three areas that will bring your life in order. And it covers three areas. 1, your behavior. 2, your work or how you manage your work. And 3, how you relate to others. Romans 13 verse 13 says we should live decently as people who live in the light of day. While parties, drunkenness, sexual immorality, promiscuity, rivalry, and jealousy cannot be a part of your lives. So Paul is basically breaking down in terms of the area that you should bring in order. So the first component is behavior, how you conduct yourself. So there are several things that he explained in Romans 13, verse 13. Quarreling, jealousy, getting drunk, going to wild parties, vulgar behavior, and indecent language. These are 6 behavior patterns that will cause issues, not only on the job, but in your relationships and otherwise. If you're a person who loves to quarrel, so for example, a customer comes into a store with a complaint about a faulty product. He's so upset he starts to shout and yell how wicked the company is and how would you respond? Let's unpack that. If you shout at the customer and an argument ensues over a period of time, 1, the company look bad because of how you respond. You look bad because of how you respond. And 3, is the problem resolved? Have you explored what exactly the fault is? Is the product at fault? And have you spent the time to actually get to the root of what the real issue is? So this is why your behavior is very important. Because the flip side is that you keep calm, try to get the customer to relax and to resolve the matter peacefully. What you do, you create an environment now where you can actually facilitate a conversation, which now you can take turns to listen to what the person is saying. What we talked about in a few episodes ago, take the time to ensure that the person speak. Go back to the belief system in terms of ensuring that everybody benefits from the conversation, because you now are able to listen to what the customer's problem is. And then you're able now to troubleshoot what the problem and get to the root of the issue to resolve the customer's complaint. Another example of behavior is on the workplace in terms of a male staff, how the female and male interaction on the job. So for instance, a new staff comes to work at a company and the male staff is interested in the person and started to go around and get to know the person, become friendly. And it moves to the person becoming, sometimes it can move from this conversation to the person becoming touches. And they're not necessarily inappropriately touching the person, but the hand around the shoulder and so forth like that. But not everybody is comfortable with that level of openness. And sometimes it can cause a problem, and the whole idea of sexual harassment now will come into picture, and now it causes a big issue because the person is now being treated inappropriately on the job, and now it's a matter that needs to be dealt with by the management. So the idea behind your behavior and your lifestyle is important. As you go through this year, be mindful of what you do. All right, so let's look at number 2 in terms of your work and management. So Paul was speaking to Titus and explaining to him that he left him in order to ensure that what needs to be done is done, appointing leaders in every area as he has directed him. So there are things in terms of when it comes on to your work, and there are 5 things I want to how you bring your work in order. Number one, doing things according to regulation. According to 1 Chronicles 6, verse 32, arranging things according to Ecclesiastes 12, verse 9, evaluation, setting place future things according to Isaiah 44, verse 7, and giving direction about a matter according to 1 Corinthians 14, verse 34. And what is important in terms of know how you're supposed to do your work. Know what is the regulations, know what is the standard, because accountants need to know accounting standards. Auditors need to know auditing standards. There are certain laws that govern certain things. And sometimes companies have a way of how they want certain things done. Be aware of all of these things. Ensure that you arrange your time, evaluate, and also set in motion plans for future events. So planning is important. And also get or give direction if you work with others and stuff like that. Last thing is in terms of how you relate to others. So just your behavior, how you conduct meetings, how you speak to people, how things are arranged, how the conversation flows. Everybody must benefit. So there are some couple examples in terms of a personal example is how you manage your time. You can arrange your day in parts. Want to get work done, another part too for meetings, another part for checking emails and so on. Another example in terms of how you manage your finances. Don't just get up and spend all the money. But first, look at what you need, ensure that you're paying your bills, buying food, and ensure that you have money to go back to work and save if you have to save. So these are some basic things that you can think about in terms of setting your life in order. These are some ideas that you can think about to introduce you to some basic things going forward. Here are some things to think about. Are you mindful of your behavior? Do you spend the time to structure how you do your work? How do you handle your conversation with others? And do you dominate, or does it flow that everybody benefits? Something to think about. And as always, God bless and one love. And that's our show. Thanks for listening. I release a new episode of this podcast every Tuesday, wherever you listen to your podcast. If you find this information useful, please share this episode with a friend.